Third hour of the Out of Bounds Show. That was when Auburn hired Gene Chizik. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the GMC Sierra Truck and GMC Yukon at Fowler, Buick, GMC in Brandon. Test drive a GMC Sierra Truck this week. You'll love it. I love mine. You can jump online, FowlerBuickGMC.com. Tom Hudson and his team do a great job. We're streaming on the Zone1059.com. You can watch us on the Facebook. Boom. Out of Bounds Show Facebook page. You can watch the show, see this incredible new set that we built within the last year. I have the Ole Miss and Mississippi State helmets up here and the Auburn and Alabama helmets. We have some new Y'all Lifestyle cups that are super cool up on the set. A couple other things. Johnny Cash hat. It's looking good. Did you notice Wendy started to decorate the studio? We have a couple of little Christmas trees in here. We have the Santa over there. He's holding 2 airplane bottles of Tito's.
That's what Santa should be doing.
And, yeah, I mean, we're ready to roll for the holidays. We're going to have a couple of fun parties in here. That's for sure. I mentioned earlier we had over 2,000 people come in the studio over the last year. And we plan on doubling that number over the next year. That's exciting. Then you put a multiplier of 50 at least, people talking about the studio and how cool it is, and that's just another platform and asset for our partners and our listeners. We want to thank our partners and listeners for the 2016 season and listening, and now we've got a lot more going on. Coaching carousel, recruiting, changes that will be made in Oxford and Starkville, players that will sign. Where will Cam Akers sign? Recruiting, NFL, Dak Prescott was unbelievable on, was that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, the Redskins. That feels like a long time ago.
It was.
Thursday was Redskins, Cowboys, and I thought, was Dak amazing or what, throwing the ball down the field again? Who was it going on and on about him afterwards? Well, a lot of people nationally, but I was listening to a certain show. It may have been the NFL Network. But he had another great game. And Redskins were, hey, team can play.
Yeah, the Redskins are a good team.
They are a good team.
Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
Not only is he a good quarterback, but Jordan Reed.
Whew.
And the other.
Garcon.
Yes.
Garcon.
And there was one more.
Crowder.
Yeah, but who's the tailback that they love? That's really coming along. Number 32? He's a little beast. But how about Jordan Reed?
Jordan Reed is a boss.
Lord.
He is a boy. You know, when I see him, I think of Evan Ingram as well.
I don't. Jordan Reed's a lot bigger than Evan Ingram. I mean, Evan Ingram's 6'2", maybe, and 217 pounds. Jordan Reed is huge. He is a big boy. Dak made, again, third and long.
Reed's 6'2".
Third and long. Well, he's filled out way more than Evan.
Yeah, but
they're not the same
NFL
player.
Weight room. No, they're not. But, I mean, I think that Ingram could have received
Okay,
the ball.
maybe athletically, you're right. I don't know. I'd have to – I need to see – I don't think Ingram's a tight end. I think Ingram's a slot player. I'd like to know the number of reps where he is lined up in the slot the last 4 years.
And why is he the leader for Doug Connerly?
Well, it doesn't matter what position.
Okay, then if it matters stats, look at Fred Ross. Who's done more for their team this year?
Well, Ingram was great, and Fred was really, really good. I mean, they both are really good players. Look, you could argue, Fred, that game was close when Fred caught that 38-yard pass.
It was.
Look, we've based this award,
on the Egg Bowl.
The media can change the game, but we based this award on the Egg Bowl the last. Eli, Jarius Norwood, Patrick Willis started the whole thing.
Not last year, though, did we?
Well, but Ole Miss didn't nominate Kelly.
Or 2 years before that, though. The last 2 years, Dak's won it.
Yes, but Dak's
and
2014. I guess he lost the Egg Bowl. He played pretty darn well in 2014 at
Ole Miss.
At Ole Miss, you're right. 2015, that was the worst game he ever played in his collegiate career. Two 2 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of the game. Pick 6 was one of them, no doubt. But this thing has been driven by Bo Wallace was going to win it going into 13. But now you didn't nominate, Ole Miss didn't nominate Chad. Here's what I'm getting asked on Twitter. You can only nominate one player. People are asking me why I'm not talking about Nick Mullins like I'm anti-Nick Mullins or I'm anti-Chad Kelly. The Ole Miss and Mississippi State staff,
Oh, man, you got your agenda.
they nominate one guy for the C. Spire Connerly Trophy. One guy. They decided to nominate Evan Ingram. Mississippi State, on the other hand, decided to nominate Fred Ross over Fitzgerald. Now, you could argue that maybe the nominations don't need to come in. I mean, we can all vote via email. So, I mean, this is, you could argue the nominations don't need to come in until Sunday. Everybody can get their act together and still vote on Sunday night or Monday. And you get it done. You have the C. Spire Connerly Award tomorrow night. And nominating before the end of the year, hey, that's debatable. That'll be up to the Hall of Fame. All right. And it doesn't, well, I don't know. You may want to reconsider and nominate at the end of the year. But the point is, a Dak Prescott was not going to be nominated in 2013. And Bo Wallace in 2013 was probably going to win it until that game. And 2014, maybe Dak won it because they were number 1 for 5 weeks. I don't say maybe. That's never happened post-integration in the state of Mississippi. 15, if Kelly's nominated, Drew, he wins it. But Ole Miss decided to go with Laquan. So should Laquan want it over Dak? I mean, hey, if you want to debate and discuss that, that's fine. What's weird is Ole Miss dominated that game, and Laquan had one, Tavez Calhoun. They were not going to allow Laquan to beat him. So instead, they allowed Chad Kelly and everybody else on the field to beat him. I think it's fun. I don't think C. Spire ever expected for this award to get as big as it is. And I think that's good for C. Spire and it's good for the Hall of Fame.
That's massive.
People get really into it. And 10% of it's fan voting. So you want to do that too. I don't know when they close that. We'll have to check that, and Drew, you can check when they close fan voting, and we'll go from there. What about the Twitter feed as far as Jay Durr Wise tweets to us on the favorites.com Farm Bureau Insurance Twitter feed? If and when the NCAA puts Ole Miss on probation and pulls 11-plus scholarships, would current players transfer to other schools? I don't remember if I had this right, but the reason why Southern Cal players were allowed to transfer is because of bowl ban.
It's only a postseason ban, right?
Bowl ban, right.
Does pulling that red shirt on Shea have any effect on that?
Yes. Well,
So now
if
he
there's
can't
a bowl
transfer
ban,
out.
No, actually he can. He doesn't burn a year.
Are you sure? Even though he was able to play?
If it's bad, if the sanctions are bad and you get a bowl game, Shea can transfer and play immediately, usually. If it's just bad but they don't get the bowl game and he decides, I don't want to play, here he can sit out and he doesn't lose a year because he hasn't burned his red shirt.
Right.
But a Shea Patterson may look at it and go, you know what? I'm already invested here. I've already been here. I'm ready to play and go to the NFL. Now, I've always thought that people were getting way ahead of themselves as Shea is a 3-and-done, not because he can't sling it, not because he's not a good football player, but because of his size and stature. If I'm Shea, I know it's worked out for Dak Prescott, and it's worked out for a lot of other guys and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, who was a 5th year, and Dak, who was a 5th year, and Peyton, who stayed all 4, and there's many, and Andrew Luck, who redshirted at Stanford. The longer you play and the more you get, sharpen the sword, sure does seem to work out rather than a Mark Sanchez going too early, which Pete Carroll thought he did, Johnny Manziel going too early, which people thought that he needed more time. it sure looks like playing a lot of major college football sure helps these guys. You can disagree with that. I'm just going by Eli. Drew Brees stayed the whole time at Purdue. Matt Ryan stayed the whole time at Boston College. Ben Roethlisberger stayed the whole time at, was it Miami, Ohio, or which one?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Eli Manning was a fifth-year senior. Peyton was a senior. Dak Prescott was a fifth-year senior. There's a long, long list there.
Well, also, the majority of those you're playing with talent. I mean, when you're playing with people that you have to elevate.
Some people do and some people don't. You're
Peyton
exactly right.
May not have had to elevate.
Eli and Dak Prescott had to elevate the people around them.
You think
so
Drew
did
Brees had to?
No doubt at Purdue. Okay. No question.
Did Mark Sanchez have to elevate him?
No.
They elevated him.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, A.J. McCarron didn't have to elevate his players around him. That's why he's on the – now, hey, he's pulling in a nice paycheck. Let's take a break. What's the biggest thing to come out of the Egg Bowl? Other than Dan didn't want to go back to Starkville with a 3-game losing streak. Where does Freeze sit now? He went 5-7. They thought they'd finish in the top 10 or 15. Composite Recruiter top 15. And the NCAA is going to put Ole Miss on probation because Ole Miss has already offered 3 years, 11 Scullies. It's just a matter of how much. Is Freeze on the hot seat? And does this give Ross Bjork? He's named in the level ones. Where does this lead us both this month and 4 or 5 months from now? We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The Out of Bounds Show on ESPN 105.9 The Zone is brought to you by Madison Ridgeland Academy. Record number of students with 4.0 GPAs, record number of students in AP classes, and record number of students scoring 30-plus on their ACT. With full scholarships to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Southern Miss, among other schools around the Southeast and the country. If you would like to tour Madison Ridgeland Academy today, if you're on the fence about your child's future, call MRA 601-856-4455.